Good morning, CJ.
Are you still acting as the DJP in KZN?
No, I'm not.
Oh, so you're not a DJP?
I'm not acting right now.
All right. How are you?
I'm good.
Good, good. KwaZulu-Natal Division of the High Court. And I'm just going to take you through your CV just to get a feel of what you have done with yourself that led you here.
Yes.
You have 2 law degrees, a BUris and LLB from the University of Zululand.
Yes, CJ.
Then you volunteered as a teacher
Yes.
in the very early days of your work life.
Yes, I did, CJ.
But you didn't stay long.
No, I didn't.
You realized that you're not cut out for that. Why did you leave?
I wasn't getting paid for it.
All right. You joined the Department of Justice as a court interpreter and stayed in that position for 2 years.
That's right, CJ.
Then you moved up to prosecution and you stayed there for another 2 years.
That is correct, CJ.
And then you moved further up to state advocate.
That is correct.
And you remained in that position for 3 years. And you joined the magistracy.
Yes.
How long were you a magistrate?
State advocate for, did you say for how many years?
Sorry?
Did you say state advocate for how many years?
No, magistrate.
Oh, for a magistrate. Since...
Oh, I see that I skipped your stint as a senior state advocate.
Yes.
Where you remained for 5 years.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And then you became a magistrate.
That's right, yes.
For how long?
Since 2000.
And 5, your CV says?
Yes, until
20...
I was appointed as a judge in 2014.
Uh-huh. You started acting as a judge in 2009.
Yes.
And acted intermittently over the years until your permanent appointment in 2014.
That is correct, CJ.
So you've been a permanent High Court judge for 10 years now?
That's correct, CJ.
Okay. You've had occasion to act as Deputy Judge President?
Yes, I have. And if I may add, the Judge President also afforded the opportunity to act as a senior judge last session.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The last term, you mean?
No, last session. We call it sessions.
Sessions.
Yes.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yes, that is
we call them court terms.
Oh,
where
yes.
I come from.
Yes, just for 1 month, though.
1 month?
Yes.
All right, but I see that you had a very busy month from the responsibilities you list.
That's right.
In your application. Just tell us a bit about all the responsibilities which you did at the JP's behest.
At the JP's behest. At some point, I was requested to deliver a paper on diversity. We were invited by Nadel, and the JP, who was not available, requested me to go and deliver the paper on her behalf, and I did. And at some point, I was requested to deliver a paper on judicial ethics. It was here in Gauteng, and it was requested by Justice Matopo and Judge President Mlambo.
Okay. But I see that you were also given the responsibility of allocating work to your colleagues.
Yes, I was given the task to allocate work to my colleagues.
Mm-hmm. And you were able to do that satisfactorily?
I was able to do that satisfactorily.
And you mentioned that the JP requested you to chair the Appeal Records Subcommittee.
Yes,
with a view to overcome delays in prosecuting appeals.
in prosecuting appeals, yes.
How successful is that committee, may I ask?
It's doing very well. We just recently had a meeting in September where we identified a lot of problems and we found ways to overcome those problems. That is part of what I was going to deal with when I was asked to deal with the challenges that beset the division and the ways to overcome those challenges.
Okay. I see that you picked up a very important skill as senior state advocate. You were a case manager.
Yes, I was a case manager and I was case managing state advocates and investigators as well. Yes.
All right. You have written judgments, I hope, both as a magistrate, which they don't really do,
Yes.
but certainly as a judge.
Yes, I have.
How many would you say you have managed to produce in your 10 years as a judge?
I'm unable to count, but
Too many to count.
too many to count.
Have any of them been reported in our law reports?
Yes, they have.
How many?
Um,
You've listed 4.
I listed 4, but I suppose there are more than that.
Yeah. Okay. And you've been overturned on appeal
Twice.
only a few times,
Twice only, yes.
and upheld more than
Yes.
you were overturned.
That's right, yes, they are. And I might just mention that in one of the appeals where I was overturned, 3 judges found against me and 2 judges agreed with me.
At the SCA.
At the SCA, yes.
The most senior judges on the panel agreed with you.
The most senior
noticed.
judges at the SCA, yes. Justice
Betse
Zondi,
and,
Justice Zondi,
Yeah.
and Betse DP
Yeah.
as they were then.
You listed a couple of reserve judgments when you completed your JSC questionnaire.
Yes,
have
I
those
did.
been delivered?
Yes, they have been delivered. And I might just also add that during the course of the session, I also picked up another reserve judgment that too has been delivered.
Okay. You have listed 2 parted matters,
Yes,
and one assumes that if one of those proceeds, that would take a significant amount of the presiding judge. Now,
Yes.
if you are appointed for this position, would you be able to handle your administrative duties while you are running a long trial?
yes, I would. It has happened before. I think Judge Chappie was also dealing with the Shembe matter at some point.
Oh, I remember.
Yes, yeah, it has happened. It's doable.
All right. You've applied for a leadership position in the division.
Yes.
Would you tell us what plans, if any, you have to assist the JP in running a tight ship down there?
Yes. Firstly, I have to point out that we have the judge president in our division. We still have the judge president, and she is the head of the judiciary in the division. She has to be supported, and I undertake to support the judge president. I undertake to work with the judge president, not against her. When she was being interviewed for the post that she's holding now, she outlined, amongst others, 3 very important pillars, one being transparency, the other being unity, and the third being efficiency. With regards to transparency, the judge president has indicated that she actually walks the talk. I have to point this out because it has never happened before I proceed. When the posts for deputy judge president were made available, she circulated a memo to all the judges indicating that whoever wishes to apply for these posts should indicate And those, including myself, that were willing to apply for the post indicated that they wanted to apply for the post. That has never happened before, ever. After we were shortlisted for the post, the judge president also indicated to us that she's going to give us the opportunity to act as senior judges, which happened. And she did so to all of us equally. So that was transparency at its best, and I undertake to support her with regards to transparency. She wants to unite the division, and if the judge president wants to unite the division, the deputy judge president must be seen to be working with the judge president, not working against the judge president. Again, I undertake to work with the judge president. I have no reason not to support her. Now, my vision is to deal with the challenges that face the division. I am not going to mention all of them. I'm going to mention just a few that I've had the opportunity to deal with myself. I have identified 3 challenges, which are delays in finalizing RAF matters, delays in finalizing criminal appeals, and outdated recording machines. I have had the opportunity during my acting stint to deal with delays in finalizing RAF matters. The practice directive in our division allows for the senior duty judge to allocate these matters to other judges. Proportionally, of course, but I deliberately decided to deal with these matters myself because I wanted to identify the problems in the delays with regards to finalization of RAF matters. I'm talking about matters that can be approximately 60 matters at a time. I was able to identify the causes of delays in these matters. With regards to RAF matters, what I identified as challenges is that most of these delays are caused by RAF. Most of these delays are caused by RAF's failure to make decisions in instances where serious injury reports have been submitted to RAF. Now, in these instances, what I have done is I will stand the matters down and allow the parties the opportunity to phone the RAF and make inquiries as to whether the decisions have been made. And once they have been informed whether the decisions have been made, I'll recall the matters and deal with the matters myself. I have, on many occasions, managed to avoid matters being sent to motion court, where applications have to be made, forcing the RAF to make these decisions, and that has saved a lot of time. Secondly, if you are to engage the parties meaningfully and allow them time to consider their stance, in particular RAF practitioners who carry a number of files at a time, you get positive responses from them, and most of the matters settle. Before I conclude this point, I want to refer to what advocates for transformation said in their supporting document at page 1.5 with regards to how I handle these matters. And I quote, "This position requires a person who has leadership qualities and who is able to manage a big division like KwaZulu-Natal. Judge Tili has acted as Deputy Judge President of the division during 2023 and 2024. My emphasis, members reported that during this acting stint, Judge Tili managed the Judicial Case Management JCM role very efficiently. He knew the case files well and was able to distill the issues in the matters quickly." Close quotations. My vision is to assist the Judge President with finalization of RF matters with speed. It is my view that I am capable to do that, having had the opportunity to deal with RF matters, particularly in JCMs. The second challenge is delays in prosecuting criminal appeals. I am the chairperson of the subcommittee at the JP's request. We have held a number of meetings with role players, state advocates, practitioners from legal aid and the support structure, the admin staff. Just recently, at our last meeting, held virtually in September, I obtained a list of appeal records awaiting reconstruction, because that is the main cause of the delays. I have requested all the role players to report back at our next meeting on progress regarding reconstruction of the said records. The other challenge is the change in personnel. We are told that at some stage, the heads of argument are prepared by one person, but land up in the hands of another person, because the person who prepared the heads of argument has moved to greener pastures. I have suggested to seniors to monitor the situation and to ensure that the appeal proceeds with or without the person who prepared the heads of argument. The last challenge is outdated recording machines. In my view, and I say this with greatest of respect to the Judge President, they have to be phased out. In our division, I think you are way behind on technology. I will also suggest to the Judge President that we seriously consider moving to case line like Gauteng. I understand it is a very reliable system. The Judge President, as I'm told, Judge President Mlambo has offered to give training on case lines, and I will encourage colleagues, with the blessing of the JP, of course, to consider accepting the offer. Those are the challenges that I intend dealing with. And as I already indicated earlier on, there are other challenges, but these are the challenges that I thought I should focus on, because these are the measures that I've been exposed to.
Thank you very much, Judge Tili. We'll give Judge President Boyodloti a chance to put questions to you if she has any.
Thank you, CJ. Good morning, Judge Tili.
Yes, good morning.
I definitely have lots, CJ, because I might be in that division for more than 20 years. So I do need somebody that I can trust to work with. Judge Tili, just as a start, with regard to reserve judgments, I've taken a liberty of going through the list from 2021 up to date, and once in a while your name does appear. But after my appointment as JP, you have updated me about why the judgment has been reserved for some time. And you've complied with the code of conduct, which requires that if you are not able to hand it down within the required time, then you keep the head of court updated.
Yes, JP, I have.
Yes. And with regard to two parties, you seem to have both to be Zumas, but I'm going to concentrate on the one for Simpiwe Zuma. When was that started? When did it start?
Well, towards the end of last year.
Oh, okay. That's fine then. Then that's not an issue. With regard to, you are also a chief and you chair the
Yes.
tribal authority
That's right, yes.
in Dwedwe. Yes. How do you resolve the disputes there? Do you get to sit to resolve the disputes?
No. I don't resolve the disputes. I just chair the traditional council.
Okay,
Yes.
that's fine. And just on that issue, you were excited a few weeks ago that you mediated a matter.
Yes, I mediated a matter. It is a divorce matter, acrimonious divorce, and it's a matter that will have taken three days at least, and then perhaps the judge will have had to reserve judgment. But I managed to resolve the matter in about 2 hours because at the end of the day, the parties agreed with regards to the sharing of the property, and the only issue that is outstanding is now the divorce.
Yes. So what's your view then with regard to divorce, to mediation, particularly when it pertains to family matters, traditional disputes, as well as RAF matters? Any views?
It's very efficient, JP. It's very efficient.
Yes.
And it saves a lot of time because as I've already indicated, had it not been for mediation, that matter will have proceeded to trial, and maybe it will have lasted for about 3 days, as I've already indicated. So it's very, very efficient, and my views are that it should be implemented.
Yes. Just on the reserve judgments, it is a pain for every head of court. Did you, during your acting stint as the DJP, get an opportunity to look at the list and maybe speak to some of the people that might have a long outstanding judgment?
I did, but I only spoke to the acting judges, JP.
To the acting judges?
To the acting judges, not the permanent judges.
Yes. No, that's fine. At least you did speak to some of them. Yes. And then the managerial experience, because this is a management leadership post, what can you tell us about?
Well, as I've already indicated, my CV speaks for itself. I do have that experience, and as I've already indicated, at some point when I was a senior state advocate, I was managing prosecutors, state advocates, and I was also managing the investigators. I'm also the chairperson in church. I'm also the chairperson of the Kili Tribal Authority. I have been exposed to management as a judge because the JP afforded us the opportunity to act, and I believe that I acquitted myself very well. Yes.
Well, I did not get any complaints during your acting stints, so maybe it's a testimony for that. But just to, maybe some of the commissioners might not be aware about how the division operates. We've got Durban and we've got Pietermaritzburg. Yes. So what does it mean to be a senior civil judge in that context?
To be a senior civil judge means that you are on your own, because the JP cannot be in two places at the same time. If the JP is in Pietermaritzburg, then it means that the DJP is in Durban, and vice versa.
Yes. And you're responsible for the
And
running
responsible
of the
for
court.
the running of the entire office at the time.
Yes, yes. And just on the appeals committee, my understanding is that that committee came about because there was litigation between the Office of the Chief Justice and the Legal Aid Board because of the delays in producing records.
That's right, yes.
And your report is that it has made significant progress.
We have made strides.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen any matters, the litigation between the OCJ and the Legal Aid Board since the establishment of that committee.
Yes.
Yes, all right. And then in terms of the, how was the morale with the colleagues when you acted as the DJP in particular?
JP, I received tremendous support from the colleagues. And even now, I've been receiving a number of calls and messages from my colleagues, right up to the most senior judge of the division. I received support not only from the colleagues, also from the staff. I also received support from the legal fraternity.
Yes.
I must say that I'm well received.
Yes, I thought I was the most senior judge in the division. Now you say you got support from me. Not yet. Yes, because I am, I know who you're referring to, by the way, but I just wanted
Yes.
to make the point.
Yes.
I then want to just come back. There are two areas, and maybe you can tell us more. And CJ, I'm about to conclude. Two matters that worry me in the division is the delay or the roles in RAF matters. You've mentioned them, and also the criminal matters.
Yes.
Practically, what is it that we can do to try to reduce the roles in the RAF matters?
Well, one of the methods is the one that I just mentioned earlier. If you deal with JCMs, if you bring RAF matters to JCM and you do JCM effectively, that is one other way of reducing the role in RAF matters. Why? Because, as I've already indicated, if you have the temperament that I have of dealing with the people, some of the matters end up settling, and most of them end up settling. So what I used to do when I was dealing with RAF matters, JCM and RAF matters, I would keep the files with me, stand matters down, allow the parties to talk. I'm not suggesting that I am twisting their arm, no. I'm just giving them the opportunity to talk, allow the parties to talk. And after they had talked, I realized that most of the matters settled. But that requires a person who has the ability to speak to people in the manner that I do have been described by the advocates for transformation as affable.
So we would have to tweak the practice directives of the division so that the matters, all the RF matters started judicial case management before they are referred for trial.
Before they are referred for trial.
Yes, all right. And then the criminal matters? Any take on that?
We don't actually have that delays in criminal matters. As I was sitting in Tuba session before last, and the case that I was dealing with is a matter that involved the matters that had taken place in 2023.
All right. And then finally, on my side, the one other challenge that we have in the division is the performance of the regional courts. Is there anything that you can assist me there with? Because you were a magistrate. I was not.
Performance of the magistrates court. That's a tough one, JP. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I suppose if the JP, I know that as the JP, if I get appointed as the Deputy Judge President, the JP is most probably going to delegate certain tasks to me exclusively. So if the JP does that, delegate a task to me, I will look into that, look at the look at the performance of the magistrates and come out with ways to obviate delays in the magistrates' courts.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chief Justice. That will be all from me.
Thank you, JP. Good morning, Premier Nduli.
Morning, Chief Justice.
It is your turn to ask questions of the candidate if you have any.
Well, no, thank you, Chief Justice. I see that Judge Chili once acted as the Deputy Judge President. Just want to understand your highlight or your success story of your term of acting to indicate your strengths in the office that you envisage to occupy.
When I was acting as the Deputy Judge President, firstly, as the JP has indicated, I never received any complaints, firstly. And the JP never received any complaints. Now, my strengths. I've already dealt with the JCM matters, and if I am of the view that I performed satisfactorily. Unfortunately, I'm not good at blowing my own trumpet, but a lot has been said about me by the legal fraternity about the manner in which I conducted myself as the Deputy Judge President. I think I performed satisfactorily and to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Chief Justice.
Thank you, Premier. Commissioners, do you have questions for this candidate? JP Mlambo.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice. Good morning, Judge Pili.
Good morning, JP Mlambo.
As you know, I represent heads of courts.
Yes.
And our interest as heads of courts is stable leadership and stable divisions.
Yes.
I'm sure you understand that.
I do.
Right. You mentioned a number of areas in which you will assist and cooperate with the JP. Currently, what can you flag as the stubborn challenge that you have in the division, and how do you seek to assist the JP in resolving it?
Yes. Unity, JP, unity in the division. When the JP took over, I have to be frank, there were divisions in the division. When the JP took over, there was this notion of us and them in the division. When the JP took over, as she has already indicated, there was this thing of Durban and Pietermaritzburg. But as soon as the JP took over, she addressed that. Now, my objective is to assist the JP in addressing that, in bringing unity in the division. A division that is not united. If a division is not united, the members of the public lose confidence in the justice system. So that is where I think I have to assist the JP in bringing unity in the division, within the, amongst the judges, and also the staff as well.
CJ, I have a follow-up to this. It's not my
Yes.
second question. It's
Yes.
a follow-up, if that's allowed. We hear stories, you mentioned unity. We hear stories in divisions where some judges never go to the common room. Never. And I want to believe that the common room is a very important meeting place during term, where colleagues come and where the JPs makes announcements and where acting judges introduce themselves to be known to acting judge, to permanent colleagues. What's your view about how to deal with this? Because some colleagues are very stubborn. No matter what you say, they would not go to the common room. Do you have that problem?
Well, we don't anymore.
Okay,
We don't anymore. We used to, but we don't anymore.
okay. Courtesy of good leadership, I hope.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. My second question, CJ. If you are appointed as DJP, you and the JP will be the most senior. You'll be the judiciary leaders in KZN in the province. That means you'll also have some oversight over the magistrates' courts.
Yes.
Now, I don't know whether when you acted as in whatever capacity, ADJP, whether you had occasion to attend or chair the PEC of KZN.
No, I never did. The JP had indicated to me that she was going to rope me in, but she hadn't yet.
I see. Well, I'll ask you the question nevertheless. The most recurring challenge that we encounter as JPs, and I track this in Gauteng, and I have the national stats, is the finalization rate of criminal trials by the regional court.
Yes.
It's a problem.
Yes.
Do you have any ideas as a former magistrate in which you can suggest to the JP how to address this problem?
Before I respond to that, I can attest to that, JP, because sometimes we go and do circuit duties, and when you do circuit duties and find yourself working alone in the establishment, and by 4 o'clock everybody is gone, that becomes a big problem. I suppose, as I already indicated, if the JP can allow me the opportunity to deal with this aspect and assign the task to me, I will be able to approach the president of the regional president, the regional court president, and engage the regional court president. First, we have to identify the problem before we get to a solution. First, we have to identify the problem. What is the cause of delay in finalization of regional court matters? We have to identify the problem first, and then after having identified the problem, we have to look for ways to obviate that. So my solution will be, if the judge president will allow me the opportunity to deal with that aspect, task me, I will have to sit down with the president of the president of the regional court and engage the president of the regional court with regards to what the cause is and how those causes can be obviated.
Thank you. CJ, my last question.
No, you've exhausted your code.
Thank you.
I'm afraid. Sorry, JP. Commissioner Mtsweni Tsipane.
Thank you
I'm
very
sorry.
much, Chief Justice.
He raised his hand before you. No, I noted you. Commissioner Dipizon.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Hi, morning, Judge Haley.
Yes.
I see that you were the interpreter between the period March 1993 to April 1995.
Yes, that is correct.
But going through your CV, it would seem to me that at that stage you had already obtained a degree. Is that correct?
That is correct. It was very tough back then.
Oh, now you really, you can take punches, you know.
Yes.
Being an interpreter with a degree, I mean, what a glorified, it became a glorified position, I mean. So I recommend your resilience.
Yes. And I might just add that I was overqualified.
Yeah. And then the second aspect that I wanted to, I've just gone through the reported cases, and it's correct that the Lahaf versus Kwatuguza case is a case on which
Yes.
we sat, and I was part of the panel. Well, I was a scribe, and
Yes.
there was a split.
Yeah.
And then the Snowy Owl Properties, I was the presider there, and we upheld your decision.
That is correct.
Thank you, CJ.
Thank you, CP. Commissioner Mthweni Tsipane.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice. Good morning, Judge Chile.
Good morning, Commissioner Mthweni.
Judge Chile, the legal system is built on the principle of stare decisis.
Yes.
But there are times when judicial innovation is necessary.
Yes.
How would you then balance adherence to precedent with the need to develop the law to meet the contemporary ideas as they are contained?
First, I have to deal with the case that has fitting facts. That is point number one. And once you get a case that has got fitting facts, you decide based on that.
Oh, was that the only question?
No, that's not the only question, but just to follow up,
Yes.
would you agree then with me to say that if you were to interpret, there is a need to interpret laws in new ways that may not have been established prior, given the social norms and the technological advancement which you spoke to earlier on?
Yes. Yes, I do. I do agree with you, Commissioner Mthweni, and I can't wait for a case that has fitting facts because I would love to do that.
No, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The second question would then be that if you were to be appointed as the Deputy Judge President, would you be responsible not only for adjudicating cases, but also for overseeing the efficient functioning of KwaZulu-Natal Division, including the management of case loads, the streamlining of court processes, and ensuring that judicial resources are allocated effectively? Now, given the administrative demands of the role, how would you approach improving case management to reduce backlogs whilst ensuring that judges under your leadership, I know that you've indicated that they've got high regards of you, how would you ensure that those judges, you support them and guide them in a manner that they are able to meet their obligations? And also, would you also, and how would you also balance these administrative responsibilities with your judicial duties to ensure that neither is compromised?
If you assume the responsibility of being a judge, then you must know that you don't have spare time. You have to make time. When we talk about reserved judgments, there is no time allocated for doing reserved judgments, but you have to make time as a judge. If you have to write a reserved judgment over the weekend, so be it. If you have to write a reserved judgment, and if you are to remain in the office till late in the evening, which I always do, so be it. But you have to make time because as a judge, you just don't have time.
Thank you, Chief Justice.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Likhanyan.
Chief Justice, good morning to you and thanks very much. Good morning to you, Judge Chile.
Good morning, Commissioner Mthweni.
In the provinces where you and I come from,
Yes.
the stability of the institution of traditional leadership is very paramount for the cohesion of our communities.
Yes.
and sustainable development. And for sure, you know that traditional leadership is riddled with succession disputes. I heard you here speaking very eloquently about mediation as an option.
Yes.
Do you think, or are you of the view that mediation can be an option in the resolution of traditional leadership disputes, and why?
Yes, I do, Commissioner Ngwaitobi, and actually, sorry.
No, it's Commissioner Lukhanyan.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I've been looking at Commissioner Ngwaitobi.
No, the question qualifies to be asked by the SC.
Oh my goodness.
Pardon me, Commissioner. Yes, yes, I think in the traditional setup, actually it does happen in the traditional setup. There are cases that get resolved in the traditional setup without actually deciding the disputes by, say, sanctioning the one party, the party that has done wrong. It happens, actually. I think it works very well in the traditional setup.
Just make a follow-up.
Yes, please,
Yeah,
because I was looking wrongly.
I just want you to elaborate. Why do you think it will be important for us to follow the option of mediation then? I heard you when you motivated the route you took on a divorce matter.
Yes.
But given the centrality of traditional leadership institution in most of our communities,
Yeah.
why do you think that this option of mediation can help us, apart from saving time?
Yes.
How does it help us to build cohesion in our communities
Yes.
and sustainable development?
Firstly, these people live together in the community, in the society. So you have to ensure that even if there has been a problem between them, at the end of the day, they are going to still live together in the community as a society. I think it is very important to find ways to resolve issues that happen in communities by resorting to mediation rather than say sanctioning the other side for having committed a wrong.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hassan?
Thank you very much, CJ. My name is Commissioner Hassan, representing the National Assembly. Judge Tliti, I have two questions for you.
Clearly.
Sorry, Tliti.
Clearly.
My apologies.
Yes, thank you, no problem.
I have two questions for you. The first is around of the judgments that we reviewed or got, two of them were handed down more than 3 months after hearing. That's the Zululand District versus the MEC of Cogta and the MEC of Health case. Could you explain what led to these delays? Is it a trend? I know that the JP did ask something related, but I'm interested specifically in those two cases that were handed down more than 3 months. Thank you.
The MEC matter, the delay was caused by the fact that there was an acting judge who was, we were unable to locate him for quite some time. The other one was, is it how many months?
I could only tell you that it's more than 3 months.
Yes.
I can't tell you the exact amount.
Yeah, it's more than 3 months, but it's not more than 6 months either. I did the best that I could under the circumstances. I was swamped with work.
All right, and is this a trend that you've had some difficulty with in the past?
No, not at all, not at all.
Okay, thank you, CJ. I have my second question. we note, and I think it's very commendable, your experience moving from a court interpreter up to here, up to this particular moment in time, that you're also very involved in your community, in the tribal authority, but also in the church, which I think we all can understand. But I am interested whether you've had any cases before you that have caused some tension between some of your views that may arise from there, from the church and the tribal authority, and of course your role as judge. Specifically, whether you've had any matters before you relating to the LGBTQIA+ community, and how you've dealt with those in the past, or how you deal with them in the future. How do you resolve those tensions, but specifically related to the queer community?
To the queer community? No, I haven't had matters dealing with the queer community, as you say. But if I were to be confronted with a matter of that nature, I will deal with the matter on the facts.
All right, so it wouldn't be a matter of recusal?
No, not necessarily.
Thank you, CJ. I'm comfortable.
Commissioner Matthews?
Thank you, CJ. Good morning, Judge Chile.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Yeah. Look, when you outline your plan, I haven't heard you talking about the relationship between the staff and judges and other stakeholders. Can you speak on that? What the importance of a healthy relationship between staff on one hand and judges, as well as the relationship with other stakeholders, the profession, and all the role players in the commission, how it is helpful.
It's very important, Commissioner Mchisi, to have a good working relationship with all the other role players, because otherwise than that, you won't be productive.
Yes. And then the second aspect, there is I just observed recently, most magistrates, they want to be judges. They want to act as judges. And that impact on the magistrate, that was on the work of the magistrate in district courts. There was an instance where in another court, a magistrate went to act. The accused was in custody, case postponed over a long period. How do you balance that? That is the need of integrating judges, magistrates to act in the High Court, still not affecting the delivery of service, of judicial service to the communities, which is called front of justice. That's one. On one hand, most practitioners in the private sector, in the private practice, they are reluctant to take acting appointment as judges because of underpayment of judges. In fact, there's simply no payment. As an acting judge, when you see, when you are acting there, you say the matter, we are not too sure whether this is salary or maybe is something coming from somewhere, that there's non-payment which is not attracted. How do we attract from private sector, from private practice, competent practitioners and who will be able to hit the ground? Balance with that with the magistrates who see ascendance to the bench as a promotion, then abandoning their own original work that they should do. How do you balance this? What can you say? In broad terms, I'm not asking for a specific answer, but it's a problem I've observed, but I want your views.
Yes. With regards to the magistrates, that has to be cured. We have to find a way to cure that. With regards to counsel, I don't think I'll be in a position to deal with that sufficiently, because I do not have the funds to
Chief Justice, I'm just saying,
yes.
Would you agree with me that really in South Africa, judges are simply not properly paid? They are underpaid. At one stage, their payment was delayed for so many years, but they are underpaid. That's a fact. We accept that. as a fact.
I don't know whether
I know the challenge, you might not be ready to answer that question, but do you accept that judges in South Africa are underpaid?
Be very careful how
don't-
you answer that question, Judge
Sorry?
Cili. I'm cautioning you to be very careful how you answer that question. You don't want to upset your colleagues.
That's why I'm saying, is this question, if you have problems, you may not answer, but at the same time, I'm just saying, you can answer, one way. You can agree with me, you can say, well, I have no comment if you don't. I would accept and live with it.
Can I defer to the CJ? Yes.
Commissioner Moimang?
Thank you, CJ. Greetings to yourself and the fellow commissioners. Greetings to you, Judge Cili.
Good evening. Good morning.
Just one clarification question from my side, emanating from the response that you gave with the interaction with from the JP side on your position as chair of the Traditional Council, vis-a-vis also your position as judge, and now applying for the deputy president, JP. The applicable legislative framework suggests that you may appoint your deputy, which obviously is discretionary, in consultation with the royal family, when you are elevated either to a higher position. Let's say you are elected as the chair of the provincial house. I guess because the two positions has fiscal implication also, that could be a consideration. What is the position in the province? Is it not something that can be dealt with differently? Not holding two positions of influence. That's clarity from my
I'm sorry,
side.
Commissioner, can you repeat that?
I'm saying that the applicable framework in terms of the traditional leadership
Yes.
suggests that when you are as the chair of the traditional council, when you are elected to the chair of the provincial house or deputy, you may appoint a deputy. Now, in your situation as a judge,
Yes.
is it not advisable to appoint a deputy of the traditional council, having consulted with the royal family?
Oh, I see. I see.
Of course, probably maybe the policy consideration in KZN is different. So that is the clarity-seeking question that I wanted to get from you.
Well, I think perhaps that consultative process is important, because as the incourse, you have duties that are assigned to you by the members of the community. I will agree with you that a consultative process is important.
So is it not advisable from your side to relinquish the chairperson of the traditional council and appoint a deputy, so that you focus on your position as the deputy judge president when you are appointed?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Is it not advisable for you as a judge
I see.
to appoint a deputy chair of the traditional council in your position as
in my
chair?
position, I see.
Because you are a judge, and I thought when you are a judge, you cannot hold two positions that has remunerative implications on the fiscal system.
I am not receiving any remuneration for that. Firstly, I'm not receiving any remuneration for that. I mean, as the chairperson, I'm not receiving any remuneration. That is number one. Number two, I don't sit full time We haven't sat in a very long time. We only sit if there are issues that we have to deal with. So there is no conflict at all.
Do you agree that the legislation says you may appoint a deputy? The legislative framework says you may appoint a deputy.
I may appoint the deputy in my place as a chairperson. Yes.
Perhaps, Chair, can I have a follow-up just on this?
Yes?
Good morning, Judge Khwili.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. You have made me proud. But the question from my colleague is that as a traditional leader, if you assume a permanent position somewhere, the policy, as I understand, I think you understand, is that you have a power to appoint somebody to deputize
For you.
And it has got a long history, but I don't want to delay.
Yeah.
But I just want so that you understand the import of the question, because I found it somewhat maybe different in KwaZulu. If you are now acting as a judge permanently, and at the same time also acting somewhat permanently as the head of a traditional council. That is what he was seeking you to clarify.
Yeah.
And in that, trying to assist whether you had appointed a deputy, because we know that as the head of Khwili, there are things that in terms of custom you need to perform. Sorry, Chair. That's the only thing that I wanted to clarify.
Thank you so much.
But you do assure us that there is absolutely no conflict between the tasks you perform there and those you perform as a judge, not even a deputy judge or president.
There is absolutely no conflict, CJ, as I already indicated, and we don't sit regularly. We only sit when there is an issue that has to be attended to. And as I already indicated as well, we haven't sat in a very long time. And if
I don't think it really matters. The regularity of the sittings matter. If there's a conflict, then there's a conflict, even if you sit once in 10 years.
That is
if
correct.
you say there's no conflict whatsoever, then it should be fine.
Yes, there is no
Thank you.
conflict.
Just a follow-up, CJ.
Yes, JD?
Yes, thank you. Just a follow-up, Judge Khwili, on this issue. So if you were to sit, you have no difficulties in delegating
Yes.
that chairpersonship to somebody who you would appoint as the deputy?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Well, is your question a follow-up, Commissioner Mqwetho?
No, it's not a follow-up, so
Then
I'll
join
just
the queue.
wait my turn.
Commissioner Shabangumdao?
Thank you, CJ. Good morning, Judge Khwili.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Judge Khwili, these days we've got a problem of sexual harassment in our courts. If appointed as a deputy judge president, how will you deal with a sexual harassment complaint in your court?
Sexual harassment complaint in my court. Firstly, it has to be reported, and once it has been reported, I'll have to deal with it in my capacity as the deputy judge president. Well,
If the judge president delegates the task to you,
if the judge president delegates the task to me.
are you satisfied with the answer, Commissioner?
Maybe
I'm looking at your face.
I'm really not satisfied, Judge. Maybe if you can just elaborate further as to what steps will you take to deal with this complaint?
What steps will I take to deal with
Perhaps in fairness to the candidate, not that I'm absolving him from answering the question, I should mention what I raised yesterday when a similar question was put to the other candidates for leadership positions, that there is actually a sexual harassment policy that is due to be disseminated to the rest of the judiciary shortly, which would be a guideline. But if he wants to go ahead and answer, then he should, without the benefit of that policy.
Yeah, without the benefit, yes.
Sorry, I'm going to answer the question, Judge Clearly.
Without the benefit of the policy, Chief Justice.
Well, there have been cases, there are pending cases now of sexual harassment
Yes.
without a sexual harassment policy.
Yes.
Do you know how the institution has been dealing with them? And if you don't know, then you can just say.
Well,
so.
there are structures in place, Chief Justice, that deal with those matters. In the establishment, there are structures in place that deal with those matters. I'm trying to think, if the matter has to come before me, at what stage will it be because they have failed, or whatever the position? I'm not sure I'm going to respond to that, because there are structures in place in establishments that deal with those matters, sexual harassment matters.
Do you know which structures those are?
If a matter involving a sexual harassment has been reported, it goes to a particular manager in that section.
All right. Just let me interpose, Commissioner Shabagunda.
Yes.
Please. You absolutely correct in the case of officials.
Yes.
In the department.
Yes. Yeah.
Office of the Chief Justice.
Oh.
Now, let's say an usher or a judge's secretary accuses a judge.
I see.
Of sexual harassment. What happens in that case?
Oh, okay. That matter will be reported to the judge president, and if the judge president sees it fit to delegate the matter to me for investigation, I'm more than welcome to do that.
CJ, could I pose a follow-up?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry,
it's Commissioner Hassan.
It's Commissioner Pillay first. She raised her hand first.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Good morning, Judge Clearly.
Good morning. Good morning.
Judge Clearly, you included in your application a paper entitled Diversity at the Workplace.
Yes.
And one of the issues you deal with in that paper is the fact that managers in what you call the legal fraternity must take steps to protect equal opportunity in the workplace by eliminating unfair discrimination. I'm a bit surprised that you seem taken aback by questions relating to sexual harassment. Now that you're applying to become one of the so-called managers in the legal fraternity, did you identify sexual harassment as being one of the barriers to equality in the workplace?
I take your point. I take your point, and I agree entirely with you. Yes, sexual harassment is one of the barriers at the workplace. But as I already indicated earlier on, that if matters of that nature will have to be reported to the head of the office, and the head of the office is the judge president. And if the judge president sees it fit to delegate that matter to me, then I'll deal with it.
You see, Judge Clearly, you talk about two things. You talk about identifying barriers, and then you talk about identifying steps in order to address those barriers.
Yes.
Now, you say you accept that sexual harassment must be identified as a barrier.
Of course,
but have you considered, bearing in mind that you put up the Diversity at the Workplace paper, have you considered what kind of steps should be adopted in order to address the barriers? And I just want to add a second thing. Were you involved in the formulation of the sexual harassment policy, the judiciary's sexual harassment policy?
No, I wasn't involved in that.
And let us assume that the judge president is on leave for a year, and so it comes to you.
Yes, I'll deal with that, Commissioner Moaitobi. I'll deal with it hands-on, head-on.
CJ, may I pose my follow-up?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Judge. I'm going to make it a little bit easier for you. I'm a junior or maybe a clerk of the court. I've experienced sexual harassment. Someone said something or touched me inappropriately, and I come to you
Yes.
as the judge president, the deputy judge president rather.
Right.
What are your next steps when I've complained to you?
You come to me to report sexual
I
harassment?
come expressly to you
Yes.
because let's assume the judge president's indisposed. I'm coming to you. What are you going to do to deal with it?
I'm going to call the person who is alleged to have sexually harassed you. I'm going to make an inquiry. Sorry, I'm going to conduct a mini investigation. If I see fit, then I'm going to suggest that that person is suspended pending the finalization of the investigation.
Okay, follow-up, Chief Justice.
In terms of which legal instrument would you exercise those powers? Do you know? If you don't, you can just say so.
I don't.
Yeah.
Can I make a follow-up, Chief Justice? Sorry, Judge Tilu, I mean, just to get off this question, do you accept that sexual harassment by itself constitutes a misconduct which should be reportable to the Judicial Service Commission for investigation?
Yes.
And that is what you would do?
Yes.
Thank you. Why don't you say so? Why don't you simply say so? I mean, so that you get off this matter.
You are feeding the candidate the answer now, Commissioner. Yes.
Well, he says he's going to suspend the culprit himself.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Shabangumda, we just hijacked
Yeah.
your time.
I will leave it at that.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge T.
Commissioner Ngaito, do you still want
Thank you. Yes, I do. One of the judgments, I have 2 points to raise with you. One of the judgments you put up is the judgment of S versus Kanyele,
Yes.
which you refused bail to Kanyele, who was at the time a Fees Must Fall activist.
Yes.
I don't understand why you put that judgment up as an important judgment, given that it took an hour for the Constitutional Court to release him for 250 rand. And although there's no judgment, the questions were clear from the argument that your judgment was probably wrong.
Well, I wasn't there, firstly, Commissioner Nwetobi, and you appeared before me when you were dealing with a bail appeal. You appeared, and I wrote a judgment, and I assume that the matter, because I assume that you approached the SCA, I assume that you approached the SCA in order for you to eventually go to the Constitutional Court. But as you say correctly so, there is no judgment in the matter. So whatever it is that you say, I cannot vouch for it. But there is no judgment in the matter.
No, I understand that. I'm not asking about that. I'm asking why you thought the judgment is significant to be put up as one of your top 10, because it was run-on-the-mill application of the bail legal principles on the facts of Mr. Kanyele.
I put it up as one of the matters which were taken up on appeal unsuccessfully, in my view, because it ended up in the Constitutional Court, and in the Constitutional Court, there was no judgment. So I put it up as one of the matters which was taken up on appeal unsuccessfully.
But what's the legal significance? What's the principle that came from your case? That's the section in the form. You've got to say this is why the judgment is important.
64. Sorry, the question is, sorry, what's the question again?
Is what is the principle in the judgment that you were trying to highlight? I mean, the fact that there was an appeal to the SCA, which was not successful, but the Constitutional Court felt that he should be released, that's fine. But why did you put it up as one of your important judgments? What is the principle of law that it developed which didn't exist before?
It did not develop any point of law. I accept that. But as I've already indicated to you, I put it up as one of the matters that were taken up on appeal unsuccessfully. But when you ask me about the point of law in that matter, it was a bail appeal that served before me, and the court, the High Court, can only set aside the decision of the magistrate if the magistrate was wrong. So that was the issue that was before me. I was not able to find that the magistrate was wrong. That's the reason why I refused the appeal. But again, going back to your question, I put it up simply because I was called upon to put up matters that were unsuccessfully appealed against.
But that actually is not true, Judge Cili. You mentioned this case twice. At 16.1, you asked to list the cases where you've written judgment, not more than 10, which you regard as being the most significant, and why. And there is that case. It's listed there.
Yes, that's the point I'm trying to explore, maybe less clearly than the Chief Justice. Can you answer that question?
Well,
Oh, well, you have, sorry, the one you cite under the heading list cases that are unsuccessfully
Exactly.
appealed against
Yeah.
is a Kanyile versus the state citation with a different citation. Are they the same matters?
Yes.
The other one is just state case number whatever under significant judgments.
No, it is the same. I mean, number 6 is exactly the case that I argued. And that's what I was trying to understand. Why did you put it up? Because there was no principle there as far as I can remember.
So is it not under the cases that were unsuccessfully appealed against?
No,
CJ?
look at your application form at page 10.
Have you found it?
Yes, I have.
At item 16.1, number 6. So that's Bongingosi Kanyile's case.
This is now.
So can you answer then the Chief Justice's question?
Yeah, this is a mistake.
Yes, all right.
Yes.
Can I also ask
This
you
is a
about,
mistake.
No, that's fine. We all make mistakes. Can I ask you about something else?
Yes.
I was not understanding your ruling recently in S versus Zuma, where you first decided that you were not going to give written reasons for a decision not to recuse Mr. Downer.
Yeah.
And then you change your ruling and you postpone the case in order to give reasons. Now, I understand that the substance of the reasons may be a subject of appeal.
Yes.
But I'm very concerned about your consistency as a judge, where today you wake up, you say one thing, tomorrow you change it. And you are, in my view, damaging the perception of the administration of justice. What is your response to that?
I have to tread very careful when it comes to that, because that matter is sub judice.
I don't know the substance of that's what I said to you. What I'm worried about is your consistency as a judge, where you first tell a litigant, I'm going to do X, then you change and you say, I'm going to do Y. People want to know that when judges say X, they mean it.
Well, I had my reasons, Commissioner Ngwaitobi, which I don't think it will be appropriate of me to say now.
Are they part of the appeal? Your reasons for changing your mind?
Yeah.
They
Well,
are?
yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, you should not answer them.
All right, fine. Thank you, Chief Justice.
Commissioner Mangena, you had your hand up.
I had my hand up, Chief Justice, and I just did not want to disturb other commissioners with follow-ups. Judge
Clearly.
how are you?
I'm good.
Good. I've got a question relating to reserve judgments. The JP and Commissioner Hassan
Yes.
asked you about this. And my questions are actually focused on transparency in the judiciary, judicial accountability, as well as public interest. You would know that ground up lists reserved judgments and invites members of the public to submit comments or to submit matters where judgments have been reserved for a long period. And I, in all fairness, thought that I should ask you this question because there are two matters listed in ground up that shows that you reserve judgments for more than 1 year, 2 months in both of them. Are you aware of those matters, number one?
I think the other one is a criminal matter where I wrote judgment for the full court.
No, there's no criminal matter here. It's N.E. Zondo versus S. Vilagasi.
I see.
And
Right.
20 others. The other one is N. Mangaru versus Minister of Police. So I would want to assume both of them are civil cases.
Right.
And Commissioner Hassan asked you if you've got difficulty with judgment writing. But you'd know that if these matters are listed on ground up, the public would want to know why would the JSC appoint a judge to be the deputy judge president when that judge is not able to account for his matters through his judgments.
Let me begin by saying that as far as I'm concerned, I'm doing very well with regards to the reserve judgments. Then Zondi, I remember, is it Zondi or Zondo? Zondi, is it Zondi or Zondo? In this matter, I remember it very well. What happened in this matter is I had the matter, and after having had the matter, the parties indicated that they were going to settle the matter. So they forwarded documentation to say that they are going to settle the matter. Then thereafter, they decided to change their minds. So when they said the matter was going to settle, after having heard it, I shelved it, I put it aside. And it was only after they changed their minds that I decided to write the judgment in the matter. The Mangaru matter, that's a Durban matter. Counsel in this matter, after it was a trial, this one, Mangaru, it was a trial. Counsel indicated in this matter that they wanted to introduce further evidence. I was very reluctant to allow that, but I gave them time. And when they approached me in chambers very late, after having indicated that they were going to lead further evidence, it was late at the time, then I decided I'm not going to allow them the opportunity to lead further evidence. That's the reason why the matter was delayed. Immediately thereafter, I wrote the judgment in the matter.
Thank you, Chief Justice.
There is also another matter. I think it's not coming up because it really worried me. I even discussed this matter with the JP. The reason why I'm saying this is because I don't want to leave an impression that I have a problem with writing reserve judgments. There is also another matter that involves, it's a criminal matter. I reported that matter to the judge president. I finished writing judgment. I was describing the matter. It was a full court judgment. I was described sitting with one of my colleagues who is a permanent judge and the other colleague who is an acting judge. Having scribed that matter, I finished scribing the matter. I approached a colleague, the permanent judge. We finalized the draft. Then we sent the draft to the acting judge. It took months until I had to report the matter to the judge president. But the judge president at the time had to report the matter to Judge Madondo, who was the acting at the time. So that is one of the matters that was reserved for a long time, but it was due to no fault on my part.
No, fair enough.
Yes.
I thought I should put that question to you because when somebody reads ground up and is not aware of that explanation,
Yes.
the impression he or she is left with is that this is a judge who has difficulty delivering judgments.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Mangeni. I don't think you need to worry in respect of the last line of questioning, just really.
Yes.
I've no doubt that if you were a delinquent who delayed delivering judgments, JP Boyotwati would have raised that concern with you. Just to, Commissioner Marumakhai, do you have a question for this candidate? Is he there at all? Thank you. Commissioner Breitenbach, do you have questions for the candidate?
Good morning, Chief Justice. Thank you. Now I'm covered.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, just to round off, Judge Trilly,
Yes.
I just want to probe a bit deeper, but we have to do it briefly, into the issue you identified as your biggest concern in the division. I'm quite worried by the revelation of disunity in your division, and I would just like you to explain to us, just in brief terms, how it manifests itself and if it does not affect the efficiency of your operations down there.
Well, it doesn't now because the present judge president has dealt with it. But there was a moment where there was that division in the division I don't want to delve into depths with regards to that, perhaps as to the source of that, but perhaps in private, I don't know, you can talk about it. But there was that division, but the judge president, as I already indicated, has dealt with it. And as already,
so there is no longer disunity?
There isn't disunity anymore. There isn't.
Then what you said misled me, I'm sorry.
No.
All right, Commissioner Kotsa?
Sorry, I tried to get your attention earlier, CJ. I just wanted to go back to the reserve judgments, if I may.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
I just want to follow up in the second application by Mr. Zuma for the removal of Billy Downer.
Yes.
You delivered a relatively simple ruling, but that ruling took 5 months to deliver. Can you explain why it took 5 months?
I did second most of the time.
Excuse me?
I did second most of the time. Second duties.
Maybe just explain to the commissioner what second duty is.
If you are out of the office, if you are working out of the office, doing criminal work outside of the office.
Yeah, I understand that, but the question is, it was a very brief ruling. Why does that take 5 months?
Which one? Which ruling are you talking about?
The second application by the former President Zuma to have Billy Downer removed.
Oh.
It's the one you gave on the 11th of September.
Can I just try to clarify for Judge Trilly? So that he can I'm not going to answer, don't worry.
No, CJ, no. The question has been put before a candidate. He must answer for himself. Please.
The JP has said she's not going to answer the question for the candidate, and I'd like to think that she means what she says. So I will give her a chance to give the explanation. Go ahead, JP.
Yes, and may we be protected from Commissioner Malema because you are the one that must rule on the issues. Judge Trilly, the question was, you reserved a ruling after argument. So what I wanted to assist with, was that in the course of a criminal trial or was in the course of an opposed application?
It was in the course of a criminal trial.
CJ, may I? I don't know what protection do they seek from you against me. Exactly what I anticipated. Commissioner has asked a question. The question is not being answered because she says she's going to try and clarify the issue without answering for him. Instead of doing that, she asked another question on top of the question of the commissioner, which is not answered. And we're looking for answers for that.
Sorry, can I respond to this, please?
Respond, Judge.
Yes. I initially stated to the commissioner, I asked a question that I was doing circuit duties. And when you're doing circuit duties, you are not in court, you work outside of the court. It was a criminal matter, it was an application brought in a criminal matter, and I had to avail myself to deal with that matter. I would not have reserved judgment and given the judgment to another judge to hand it down. So I will have to be available in order for me to hand down the judgment because it's a criminal matter. It's an application that was brought during the course of a criminal trial.
Commissioner Gotsa?
I will, I understand what circuit duties are.
Oh,
CJ,
thank you. No, okay.
I was a judge's registrar for a very long time.
Oh,
but,
yeah, you did say.
But it doesn't really answer the question, but I will leave it.
All right, that is the answer. We'll assess the candidate on how he responded. If the merits and demerits thereof, we'll deal with later. Was there another hand? No? All right, then I am covered in respect of that issue. We have reached the end of your interview, Judge Crilly. Thanks very much for making yourself available for this position. Unless there's anything you wish to raise with us, you are free to go.
Thank you,
Okay.
CJ.
Thank you.